Okie doke. Morning, everybody. It is 10:13, as you can see from my lighting up mouse, on a fabulous Tuesday morning. I wanted to take some time today to record some training videos, a series of maybe 3, I think, is what it's going to come out to start with. And this is just going to be a good tool to help you guys maybe see in more concrete ways some of the stuff that we talk about on a Sunday. Things like timing, for instance, or things related to feel. That's kind of hard to explain in words without just kind of seeing it or someone being able to show you what they mean. So hopefully this will be a way for me to be able to do that, to help you guys out. In general, we're on the right track in a lot of ways, and I do mean that. I think we've made a lot of good progress and kind of feeling those things that are a little hard to explain, like feel and timing and all of that. So, with worship songs, transitioning from one slide to the next with lyric slides, I think we're getting good at kind of tightening some of that stuff up. You guys are getting pretty good at anticipating changes that I make or just going completely off script, which I'm grateful for. I'm grateful to have a tech team that I know I can depend on, so that if we feel like we need to kind of move a different direction than what was planned, we're all going to be on the same page, and it'll still work really well together and won't be distracting, like, wow, they didn't know that was coming. No one's going to see that. So I'm grateful for that, and I think we've made good strides in those ways. So this is just going to be a good way for us to tighten things up and to really just kind of zone in on some of the finer details of running media here at Good Shepherd. So without further ado, let's get started. This first video, I'm just going to kind of walk you through some of the basic navigation and nomenclature that ProPresenter operates under. So we'll just start right up here at the top, here in ProPresenter, and you'll see my mouse clicks kind of blink a little bit up here, so that'll help you kind of visually track where I'm going. A fun fact that you can use too, if you're ever running ProPresenter or anything on this computer and you don't know where your mouse is, if you wiggle it a bunch, it gets bigger like that. So if you're like, crap, where's my mouse at? You can just wiggle it a bunch, and then that'll go, oh, okay, I know where I'm at now. So especially because this can go off the side of the screen over here to the other displays, and you can get lost if you can't find it. That can really help you. So fun little tidbit for that. So let's start with the top kind of bar up here. So the clear all, that's something you guys have probably used a lot. This will clear everything that's happening visually on screen in ProPresenter. So any sort of background, which they call a media cue, which we'll talk about later, any backgrounds, any text from slides that are overlaid on those backgrounds, any videos that are going, anything like the announcements down here that have the timer between the transition timers, clearing all will clear that as well. That little red X that's down here, hitting clear all will clear that timer as well. So clear all is a really good safety kind of panic button feature, as well as just a really nice, easy way to get rid of everything at once. So that's what clear all does. Clear slides will take everything that's overlaid on top of a background and clear it away. So let's say for this song, You Loved Us From the Start, this is from this past Sunday, we have this background right here, and then we'll have our text that overlays on top of it. If we hit clear all, it gets rid of everything. If we hit clear slides, it'll get rid of the black bars and the text. Because these, if we go to the edit mode for these to see it, these little boxes right here are just treated the same way that text is, that overlays on top of the background, the media cue. So that's how that clear slides functions works. So if we ever, say, come out of the end of a song, and then we go to kind of a host spot or announcement slide like this, oh no, we see this text down here the copyright text from the last slide, how do we get rid of it while keeping this up? Well, this free deleted group, this right here, this is treated as a media cue, as a background. And so we just go to clear slides, and it gets rid of that white text that was there in the corner. So you can't see what I just did actually, but if you click this screen right here, it actually turns the display, the output, on and off. We can do it over here, but I just made that discovery making this video. That's kind of fun. If we click, well, now it's not doing it. Anyway, tangent. So that's how we get rid of slides, text that are left over on top of a video or a media cue, still image background. So let's go ahead and clear that nomenclature up right now. Anything that we can kind of see or treat as a background, maybe traditionally from like a ProPresenter, no pun intended, background, or from a PowerPoint background, excuse me. If we come from there, you know, we see these like images or, you know, these moving videos that we use right here. We treat them as kind of a background, which they function as a background, of course, but what ProPresenter calls them is a media cue. And that's going to be important to know as we get maybe into some of the finer points of adding or removing media cues from slides. So a perfect example is right here. Let's say that our light colors on the stage have changed from this kind of magenta pinky thing. Let's say that they change to a blue over here, and we want our backgrounds on the slides to reflect that. So right now, if we're just moving through the song and then we get to this kind of instrumental blank slide, obviously the colors are going to stay the same. And the reason the colors stay the same is that once we fire a media cue, like this motion background right here, we can throw any sort of text at all over top of it, and the background will not change until we fire a new media cue or until we clear the current media cue away. So hitting this blank slide is kind of a nice quick way of just getting rid of the slides before it. So now we just see the media cue. So if we want to change this color, we need to add a different media cue with the right colors. So we'll go down here to our little video image bin down here. And let's say we want this Easter colors to kind of a blue thing. Let's say that's what we were going to go for. So it's as easy as me dragging and dropping the new background there. So now we're currently on this media cue right here, all the pink. We've moved our way through the song, all of the repetitive lyrics that I write, and then we go to the next instrumental when the lights change, and that's how we get that effect. So that's just a media cue changing. And now the same applies as we move through the rest of the slides. This blue media cue will stay, and it'll stay there until we either clear it away with one of these clear functions or by clicking a different media cue. And we can even click one down here if we wanted. So this is a nice way actually that I use just to kind of sample what the black bars and text will look over top of a background, is just by doing it this way. So you may have discovered this already, but if you haven't, or maybe we're always confused as to why we don't have a color background on every slide or something like that, that's why. So on a little bit of a tangent, that's the clear all and clear slides function. So I'm going to go ahead and clear all and get rid of everything. Clear backgrounds does the opposite of what clear slides does. So clear backgrounds will take our black bars and our backgrounds and just get rid of the background, the media cue. So we still have this. Now the boxes are still there, we just can't see them because they're black boxes over a black blank background. So that's how that works. Pretty simple. If for some reason you wanted text to stay, this is going to look really hacky, but I'm just going to do it for sake of example. So let's say we want this text and black bars to stay, and we're in, you know, Kent's message or whatever. Oh, that clears that naturally for us. So never mind. Forget I said that. But anyway, you see what I'm getting at with clearing backgrounds and slides, or clearing all. We'll just get rid of everything. So New, I believe, starts a new kind of ProPresenter, new presentation. So we don't really ever mess with that, just the way that we do stuff. The editor, we don't do a whole lot of stuff with. I mean, if you click it, it brings you to this view. Normally what I do is just right click a slide and hit edit slide, because that's what I'm looking to do. So it's just kind of a couple different ways to get there. So that's that top left part of the taskbar. The stuff in the middle here, you guys use some of it and some of it you don't. But I'll at least let you know what it looks like and why it's there. So clocks, we obviously use really is just a way to reset the elapsed timer. It's currently running because I've already fired this first slide of the message, which has the little blue clock icon right here. So that tells us that there's a timer associated with the slide, and that's what starts the timer that comes up on what we see on the back screen. That's what's there. So this little trick that I just did, if you hover over this kind of display preview, you can actually, let me get out of here. You can actually toggle this screen between, okay, now it's going away on me. What we'll see front of house on the projectors, or what we'll see on the back screen on the confidence monitor for people on stage. So that's just kind of a fun trick you can use to check. So that's what this timer function is there for. It's there for us to stop the clock, restart the clock, and the next service, when we come back around to the message, we click the slide and the timer starts going. Or we can also see that by checking the stage display, or craning your neck to the left and looking at it in person. So that's what the clocks function is. The video image function, you just saw all this stuff down here go away. This toggles whether or not you can see the video image bin, and this is where all of our, and I can resize it down here as well. This is where all of our background motion videos live. Steph, keeps this pretty organized, which is great. So that's where all that lives. For Sunday service, that's where she keeps kind of some important slides and the countdown for that. Obviously sermon and announcements, that's where all those cues live. Basically, the way that ProPresenter works, you add things into a bin when it comes to like backgrounds and images. You add them into this video image bin, and then from there, you pull them into the different library items from there. So the announcements, if we go back over here to kind of our little spot down here that we'll talk about, the announcements is its own part of the library. And we keep the hashtag in front of it, or the pound sign, or the sharp, depending on how you want to call that sign. We keep that in front just so it always pins it at the top for us and it's easy to navigate to. So for the announcements, it's it's just like any worship slide, kind of library entry. It just looks a little different because it's not worship slides. So so if we wanted to add a new slide to it, we just add a new slide down here at the bottom and drag up, let's say we want another one of these. Boom. And that little black bar just came up because the template that is set to be added is one of the worship slide templates, not like a blank one. So if that happens, crap, what do we do? Well, here's what we do. We just click and drag the box, because this is all a background. We can't really do anything with it in this edit mode. It's just telling us what we would see. So if I just click and drag that and hit delete, boom, it's gone. And you just heard my ESPN ring go off. So that's how that goes. I'm going to delete this because Steph won't need it. And that's that. So that's the video image bin, excuse me, and how that basically works. Audio will toggle the audio bin over here on the right. It will bring that in or out. We don't use this as much anymore. You guys may remember, if you did this in the years past, that we would have a Sunday pre and post list that we'd play. We don't do that anymore because using Spotify has been a lot better to just keep fresher song lists playing rather than this that we have to add manually and all of that. So that's why we moved away from it. But if we do anything with like a funeral or wedding, we'll use this audio bin. So the last funeral that we had, they wanted to play Amazing Grace, My Chains Are Gone by Chris Tomlin. So we just stuck it in here and we can play it. And you may have just heard that come on, I don't know. So yeah, we can use it kind of as a media player within ProPresenter. Spotify works a lot better for us for our pre and post service stuff, just the way we do things at Good Shepherd. But that's the audio bin and how it functions and where it lives. Let me skip messages for a second. Stage message is the same as messages, but slightly different. So stage display message is something that you can type and send it to the back TV. So right now you see over here, there's nothing going on in front of house. And if you hit send message, you don't see it here. But if you go back here, this is that little bar on the bottom of the stage display. It's for you guys if you ever need to communicate something without waving your hands and trying to mouth it from back in the booth. This is a really clear and effective way for front of house to communicate with people on stage. When you hit send message, it'll flash it red. So hopefully that catches our eye a little bit better. But if we're not catching it, or if you need to communicate something to Kent and he's not getting it, just kind of keep pointing with your finger at the TV screen, and hopefully we'll catch it then. So that's how that goes. You can hide it to get rid of it, and then clear will actually clear it from your text box. So that's how all that functions. So this messages one, I'm going to go back to front of house. Messages is the exact same function just for the front of house screen. So there's a couple different things you can do. You can do a message or a countdown, or we can add other options. So message, again, basically the same thing. Not that we would ever do this, but we could send this message to the projectors by doing that. Right now, there's really no protocol for needing to ever do this. If there's ever like an emergency announcement, we don't want to do it this way because it could breed some confusion, and it's coming up behind Kent, and he may not catch it, or behind me leading worship, and we may not catch it right away. So the best thing in an emergency situation, one, talk to the security team about how we want to do that. But two, I'm pretty sure that we've decided to go through the stage display route to communicate to something, communicate something to Kent or whatever info we would have about the emergency. And then we send that to Kent so that front of house screen, no one's going to see it. And we let Kent handle that situation, which could be delicate. So, excuse me. Again, that's all kind of last resort. Hopefully something we never ever have to use, but that's how that goes. And the stage display control, again, isn't just for an emergency info kind of situation. It can also be just for, general things that we absolutely should know. And it could be as embarrassing as, maybe I went to the restroom between services and there's toilet paper stuck to my shoe, and it's really distracting because that's a really long piece and no one on stage has decided to tell me because they're mad at me or something. So you could say, "Hey, Phil, you got some TP on your shoe here," and send that to me, and I'll go, "Oh," and try to fix that. I hope that never happens. But if it does, you know how to tell me. Telestrator, lastly, is kind of a cool function. We don't ever use it, and I would rather find kind of a tablet, iPad way to use it so we can use it from stage, but I'll at least show you what it is. So I'll go back to front of house. So Telestrator, if you click into it, it kind of looks like the edit slides view. Actually, let me clear these timers out. I'll just pull this up from down here. So if you go into Telestrator, you can actually draw on this like you see in like slow motion replays from like a football game or something. So we'll John Madden this. Boom! And he moves over here. And then this guy makes a block here. And then the receiver comes through here, catches a touchdown, and boom! You got a touchdown. So we could do that during service. And if you ever got really mad at somebody who was preaching, you could do this, but please don't do that. So this is a functionality, again, we never really use, but it is there. And if we get an iPad on stage where Kent could do this live kind of from a tablet on the stage and make these kind of marks and all of that, it might be kind of fun. So this just kind of clears everything away. You can do different sizes of your, like little spotlight kind of thing. Just fun little functions. So that's why that's there. I put it up there, honestly, just as a reminder visually that functionality exists within ProPresenter. So if we ever decide to do something like that, I can go, actually, yes, we can do that. And I remember. Bibles is a little function that's built into ProPresenter that we don't really ever use, just the way that we do things and that Steph does things. But you could, look up a scripture within this and show it on the screen. We obviously just do it as separate slides, and Steph makes it beforehand just because you can control the design look of it a lot better, which I'm grateful for because Steph's really good at that. So that's the Bibles function. Template, this would change if you were to just add a slide somewhere. This would change what template that slide is coming out as. So we use, black bar for worship, which I don't know if you can tell from this screen, but this is kind of one black bar. This is the two black bar view. So that's what that does. The output, this toggles the actual output on and off. You can't really see it. It doesn't change it here, but the screen that would be to your right, if you were sitting where I am, if this goes off, you just see kind of a Welcome to Good Shepherd background that we've set as the desktop background of the computer. This thing right here. This is the image you'll see that comes up on the screen if the output, sorry, I'm dragging this around, if the output is off. If you turn it back on, you'll see whatever ProPresenter is displaying on its output, which right now is this black and orange or gray and orange welcome slide. So I bring that up to just tell you, if you're ever here and you're like clicking through slides and nothing's ever changing on the projectors or the monitor to your right, double check that this is in fact on and not set to off. So that's that. Volume just controls the overall output volume of ProPresenter. We don't keep it up all the way. We keep just a little sliver of it less. That's just kind of an audio technique, just to keep things kosher. So that's kind of the basic navigation up there up top. Real quickly, I'm going to run you through some of the other panels here. We talked about the audio bin that shows up on the right that we don't use much, and we talked about the video image bin that shows up on the bottom. So this stuff here on the side, obviously this is your screen so you can see what's happening front of house, or again, toggle it to see what's going on the confidence monitor. So back to front of house. And then over here's the library. So this is every entry we've made of something that we can put on the screens. So obviously we have the announcements and the message, and then pretty much the rest of it is just entries of worship songs. And it's a little kind of jammed up because we haven't really gone through and deleted old stuff. Like obviously we don't use this worship format anymore without the bars. So we may keep them so we can edit it to do a different visual format. So that's kind of why I haven't gotten rid of them yet. But basically most, I think, of our new stuff that uses the bars should have bars in the title over here. So yeah, this is just our library of all of our stuff that kind of has ever been made in ProPresenter. I think I did one little deep clean when I first got here, but I don't even remember if that was true. So anyway, so that's the library. And then these are the playlists. We make one for each Sunday. And so to add something to a playlist, let's say we wanted to add 10,000 Reasons to the worship set last week, all we do is just drag it from the library into the playlist. And then, of course, we can stick it wherever in the order we would want to. And then if we drag the wrong thing, we just remove from playlist. So that's how that goes. Usually I keep a couple weeks worth of playlists so we can, the announcements and the message, we can just drag and drop from in here and just stick it in the playlist for the current week. That's just kind of a shorthand way that I like doing things, just because that's how I learned to do ProPresenter. So that's kind of that. So that's this whole left panel. We talked about the stuff up here, and obviously this is just kind of our main panel for us to see things. One last thing on the navigation front, and then we'll be done with this video, is here in the information for a song. You guys obviously know about this copyright information that comes up. Let me pick a different song that actually has legal copyright information and not just me. So this information automatically populates on the first and, on the last slide of every song. That's a setting that we've set in ProPresenter, and if you ever want more info on that, I'm happy to show you later. But that's how that's going to happen, which is why part of the reason we have a blank slide at the end of each song. One is just so we have a good blank slide just as a cover for outros and instrumentals. And two, if people go, man, what was that song we just sang? They don't have to remember from the first slide. It comes back up for them. So that's the reason that's there. Legally, we have to show copyright information for a song. I think we have some liberty on whether we do it at the beginning or the end of a song. But there's certain information that we have to show, and that is the name of the song, the authors who actually wrote it, the copyright information of who the publishers are, who holds the copyrights, and then there's a couple bits of CCLI information. CCLI is Christian Copyright Licensing International. We pay them a fee every year, and it allows us to legally perform and rehearse thousands of Christian songs. So when someone like Chris Tomlin or Elevation or Bethel or Jesus Culture, if anybody releases any worship music, it's pretty much always covered by CCLI, so that churches don't have to worry about paying rights to all these different copyright places and all the legal stuff that goes into that. We just pay one thing and have a CCLI license number for our church, and then a CCLI song number that's obviously per song. So that's the information we legally have to show. And the way that we edit that is in this little information box up here by the title. If we click that, it drops down. You guys may have seen this already, but we do the title. We do the title in all caps, so it helps it stick out on the slide a little bit better. And then we add the authors. I always use the little stand-up line. I don't know what you call that. It's the upright slash, I guess. I use the slash and put a space after the name and before the next name. So let's say I had writing credits on this. Space, line, my name. I do not have writing credits on this, as much as I would love to write a song with Shane Bernard. So that's that, and then the same format follows for the publishers. Now, this is information that is always on the chord charts that you guys see that we write our roadmaps on. So I just input that into here, and then I make sure that display copyright is checked. If it is not, it won't show up. So we have to make sure that's checked. The song number, again, is on the chord chart you guys see, and then the copyright year is mostly there. If it's not, we just leave it blank. We'll show that. And then it just comes up as copyright whoever's holding it without the year. So basically whatever information we're furnished with by CCLI on those different fronts, we have to show legally. Now, if we didn't, would we ever get sued? Probably not, but it's legal, and we're Christians, and we should try to do that. So that's why we do it. Yeah. So that is basic navigation for ProPresenter, as well as just kind of various nomenclatures of things like media cues and all of that. One last little bit that I'll get into in the next video a little bit more are these cues right here, like the stage display and the timers. That's something that you can right-click on any slide and add these different cues. So we'll get into that in the next video, and we can edit the actual properties and behavior of the background media property, media cues and all that. So that's for another video. But anyway, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching and listening through to this. Again, there's going to be a couple more of these. I'll try to keep them as concise as I can while still giving you information that you'll need at some point, if not regularly. So keep on it. Keep watching these, and we'll tighten our ship up a little bit. So thanks again, guys. We'll see you in the next video.